Pizza.
Oh.
Cheesecake.
Oh.
Brownies.
Oh my gosh.
Plus beer.
Hey.
Wine.
Yes, sir.
That is how you do it on Survivor. Upside down, like Spider-Man.
Oh, and play the intro. Hello and good evening here on this Wednesday, November 23rd, 2022. We just finished watching episode 10 of Survivor 43 titled Get That Money, Baby. But we're just getting started here on our recap and analysis on Super Mader Brothers podcasting, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitch. Or you might be listening to us on the audio version. I'm Dave Mader, and I'm joined with co-host Jaemeel Robinson. How are you doing tonight, Jaemeel?
Always doing well.
Excellent. And of course, we got Josh Foster with us tonight again. How are you doing tonight, Josh?
I'm doing well, Dave. Doing well. Thanks for having me as always.
Glad to have you. Jeff Mader, not feeling well, too tired. So, he's too tired for Survivor.
So what? He recorded it. He hasn't even seen the episode yet. Like, how tired are we talking here, Dave?
I don't know. He's too tired, but we're streaming live. We're going to talk about all this episode. Jeff was here last week. Of course, I was not able to make it as I was on another podcast, the Hold Up podcast last week, which we had some technical difficulties over there, if you don't know. But I'm back here to talk about Survivor. I missed the whole double eviction. Well, it's not Big Brother, it's double vote out, I suppose, but double tribal council, double tribal. Ryan and James, Jesse, not Jesse James.
You hope it. You wish it was Jesse.
Oh, do I ever? And I'm just looking at, like, Jeff last week on the podcast was like, "How come no one's talking about Jesse or Cody for that matter?" And finally, Gabler says it to Carla in this episode. Like, they're pretty strong. No shit. These two are running the game. Jesse, I've never seen a guy so well positioned. And nobody's even, like, Gabler was the first to bring him up, and he's got two immunity idols. And
technically one.
Yeah, he gave it back to Cody.
But didn't he already have one?
So yeah, but that's one now.
Are you sure?
So two minus one to Cody is one.
Correct.
Would you agree that this is a Jesse-centric episode, Josh?
I feel like he was too comfortable. He was just like the fact that he had his own, like, titles for here's the master plan.
Yeah,
like that.
Step
was
one, have a cover story.
Sam, 100%. Like they basically built that half of the episode around his the confessional, and then they laid out the whole video sequence that way, right? So yeah.
Jaemeel?
I would say that Jesse was the leading actor, and Noelle was the supporting actress.
Yes, Noelle. Well, she's the one voted out in this episode. Spoilers, of course. Noelle got some Sari Fields music, according to Sam. Are you impressed with this draft pick, Jaemeel?
Of
Jesse? Yeah.
Okay, Sam. He hasn't
too
won
soon,
yet.
too soon.
It doesn't matter if.
Oh my goodness! Just madness in the chats.
Yeah.
Look, if he gets all the way to top 4 and loses in fire making, like, he still didn't win. So be gracious in the current lead that we have, but we haven't won yet. So we gotta pump the brakes, relax. There's a lot of people that make good choices, but at the end of the day, it doesn't necessarily mean that the best choice is the one that wins, right?
Right. Well, yeah. The more like when we made this bet, the cast was not known. Jesse is well positioned, I would say, as is Cody. Why is no one looking at Cody? Sam feels Cody will go before Jesse if they
Absolutely, because Cody is a immunity threat, and Jesse hasn't really sniffed it as much.
Jesse doesn't need to win the immunity. I think he has won immunity at one point. If memory serves.
I think he's won once, but Cody has been a consistent top finisher in every single, idol, challenge, with the exception of this one. So you eliminate the Ryans and the Noels, and it's either him or Gabler that's the most physical threats that are available.
There was not much known about this cast when we did our preview, other than who they are, where they're from, and like maybe a quick little interview.
That's all Sam needed, Dave.
That's all he needed.
That's all he needed.
Oh, well, he's that good. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this plays out. Let's recap the episode. It was big. Starting off with this was a lot about how the whole double vote in the last episode played out. More in particular, the James vote. I was so happy to see James voted out, by the way. I couldn't stand this guy. And Carla was brought into the loop by Sammy at the last minute. So she did vote on the right side, but she didn't like that she had been left out of the vote. That was the first time that she had been through that, and was kind of what her testimonial was to start off the episode. We see some tensions there too. With Sammy's now kind of being looked at a certain way after this move. And there's some repercussions. Why didn't James play his knowledge is power? Because they fooled him. And I feel like a lot of this was pinned on Noel in particular as being the one who got out James. Which
supposedly, I've heard rumors that Sammy has it.
Sammy has what?
James's knowledge is power.
Interesting.
It's just a rumor, but this is what I've heard.
Okay. Well, then James didn't have it at the time.
Correct.
Okay. Because maybe he said he gave it to Sammy as a misdirect, but that's so stupid. Like,
there's no point of it being a misdirect.
That doesn't seem. I don't know. That seems a little.
Then why would he give it to Sammy? What would be the logic? Sammy, this thing, I'm going to give it to you. So what? In case there's another knowledge is power, and somebody could steal his knowledge is power and have two knowledge is power. Like it's dumb. If
unless it was a trust thing.
A trust. I don't know. Well, it didn't work out because they voted James got voted out.
Entertainment Weekly. I'm just reading the news. James Jones gave Sammy his knowledge is power on Survivor 43.
Right before he got voted out.
Let's see.
But nobody knows Sammy has it, so they can reveal this.
Whoa. So are you saying this is like an official spoiler, Jaemeel? This isn't a rumor? Because I'll be upset, like...
This is on Entertainment Weekly. They posted this last week.
Okay, well, that's just, yeah.
Where are you hearing this, he says.
Sorry, let me roll.
All right, well, we haven't seen it on the show
right
yet.
There.
I think that's fake news, and I think that you're that or you're good at Photoshop.
Yeah.
Time will tell if that is correct, good sir.
Yeah, I felt like at the end of this, like, kind of recap the night after the tribal, I would agree that there was a ton of Jesse in this episode, where Jesse was kind of like talking about, I'm really comfortable, I'm really well positioned. And I'm looking at Jane going, well, maybe this is like, this is often what they say when they're about to get voted out. Like, the Survivor loves to do this to us. Like, well, maybe he's too confident. Maybe he's got too much going on, and this will be his undoing. It ends up not being the case in this episode. They kind of hint at it a few times, that he might be a target, but really nobody other than Gabler mentioned his name. And then we get right into the challenge itself. Which was a typical Survivor obstacle course sort of thing, but ends up being a big part of Noel's story, as Noel will go on in this challenge to be in last place, will get held up by this balance beam, and will then come back to win this, only to get voted out in the same episode, in the same day.
Can I say something, if I may, Dave?
Sure.
The first thing I thought was when Jeff was Probes was discussing the challenge, right? And he said this is for reward and not for immunity, right?
Right.
The first thing I thought was, oh, we're at that point now where we have 2 challenge, breakup for the episode rather than 1 and like a lot of talking. So at least we're at that point now, right, where the game's starting to pick up a little bit faster.
Yeah, it's definitely like
watching is what I mean.
Ryan and James are voted out on day 17. Noelle gets voted out in this episode on day 19. This is a very fast-paced Survivor, right? Like they're voting almost every other day at this point, and there's only how many days left at this point, because they just had day 19. So, and there's only 26. So there's only 7 left. They are in the final steps of this. Sam was mentioning that there's probably only 4 episodes left. I think only 3. I think after this, but like the finale will be like a 2-hour episode or whatever. So, but yeah, the challenge involved spinning around in this like centrifugal force kind of thing, which I thought was interesting. That like, for instance, who was it? I think it was the other lady, Cassidy. She's like the last to come out of this, but she ends up being less dizzy and ends up getting through the net portion faster. So I feel like that there's maybe some cautionary tale about how to approach a challenge where you start off dizzy and you just want to go, but then you also have to complete the next stage, which also included a balance beam, which wasn't easy either, especially for somebody with only one leg. Which is kind of what we got in this next stage, where they had to kind of just walk over, get this bag that they eventually toss up on top of the pole, and like some of them take longer than others, but generally they kind of all get through it in the same amount of time. But Noelle is noticeably held back through this because she's now I think she has 2 prosthetic legs, one that's meant more for running and like is more of like that like a spring loaded thing, and then one that maybe resembles more of a leg where it has more of a foot. And so I feel like maybe that this was the wrong leg for her to be wearing in this particular challenge because of how it was set up. But I don't know, like I do wonder, like, did they take this into account? They're like, is Noelle going to be able to do this challenge? Like, did they get somebody do they get the producers to like run through the challenge first to make sure it's possible? I guess. Well, obviously it was. Noelle did do it in the end. So, or because they would have set her up to not be able to do something,
But okay, so at a certain point though, you kind of have to make the challenges what the challenge is, because is it no difference than someone who just has, if it was Suri and Suri just couldn't do it, it's like, did they make the challenge for Suri? Like,
but Suri doesn't have a disability.
But I also think that Noelle would not want the game to be built around her rather than her being able to overcome it.
It kind of worked out just really nicely for the network. You noticed that, eh? How it all kind of came together really nicely, and Jeff Probst was right on top of it. He was, he was motivating her along, and yeah. So,
Comment from Sterling, all the way from Australia, looking good, Foss. He says.
Ayo.
Yeah.
Happy belated.
Sterling is certainly no Bogan, for sure. Top tier personality.
Yeah.
No Bogan here.
Is he watching Survivor Australia? I wonder.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. So this challenge, like it was definitely like a fun thing to watch. It was the story of her overcoming it, her having to try to figure out how to get over this balance beam, and then to come back and win it. And then I was just like, "Yep, you're done, Noelle." And I was like, "She's getting voted out this episode after having that resume move of getting out James, and now this." And especially if she had succeeded here and got Carla out tonight, which is what she wanted. Carla. I think that, like they were like, how are we going to win at the end against her? Because she's got such a great story. Everyone likes her, and it's going to be, going to play out. So I don't know. Was it winning this challenge worth it? I guess is what I'm kind of wondering in some ways for her. Or
No,
you
I
know,
don't think it affected her at all. Like obviously it was like, once again, like we said it before, Jesse and Cody run the game, right? I think that regardless of however this challenge worked out, I think that was still within their target, right? So, I think that's just how. Once again, I think it was nice for the network.
it was all right. Sterling saying he does watch Survivor Australia, but mainly the Challenge Australia is what he lives for, and Big Brother Australia. So all kinds of
Jeff will agree to that.
yeah. Sam wants to know why Foster looks like Jeff. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't look like Jeff.
I don't think you look like that, like Jeff. I don't think I look like Jeff either, though. But,
That's hilarious. This is
He's-
what he.
He's Jane an Ellie fan. No one's an Ellie fan, Sam. She got voted out like 10 weeks ago.
This is
No one
so
cares.
great. This is so great.
Yeah, she's long gone. Bug Eyes wasn't that good at Survivor anyway.
Bug eyes.
I'm telling you.
Oh my god, Sam, defend your woman. Oh my god.
Okay, let's just on the recap of the episode. What did you think of Noelle's choices on who she took on the reward with her? She ultimately takes Jesse, Sammy, and who's the other one? Gabler? No,
No,
Owen.
Owen.
Oh.
Owen's the other one she takes with her.
It's always Owen.
Yeah, Owen was the new. I like how Owen's the new Dwight. That was like the line in the episode. I was like, oh okay, Owen's the new Dwight.
Just as effective as well.
Yeah, exactly. Just as so the sanctuary was something we saw in this episode. Have we been here before to this location? Is this a thing?
Probably. Because they've been doing Fiji so much. It's just probably a go-to.
Yeah, it just looks like that's where they. Dave, I'm about to give you what I told Jeff. Yeah, I know what you told him. Jane is a Cody fan specifically. Yes, it is. Cody's interesting. So
Cody's
the reward
radar because he could win an immunity almost instantly. I feel
Yeah.
right. Like he kind of like he I don't know. Like he was dominating the reward challenge and then just turned to the bag thing, right? But like I don't know. I think that he's the biggest threat. Ryan was kind of a cover because he was just like he just looked bigger, right? But with Cody's safe because he's got Jesse doing all the fucking moves.
Yeah,
Like the talking.
all the talking, all the most. Yeah, like Cody might be the one to seem like the threat in the challenges, but at the end of the day, like I don't know if that's how much that matters. Like it's hard to.
It does to the jury because if he doesn't win enough immunities, then Jesse's just going to be like, well, I talked to you about this. I talked to you about this and this. Jesse seems like the guy that he will remember everything when it comes to the vote. So he will be able to to talk to each, jury and address whatever questions they have for him, right? Because he's also not doing it like even like Gabler said, they're silent assassins, right? Like they're not. No one's got blood in their hands yet. They're like Jesse hugged Noelle, right? So I don't know.
That was jury management. I thought.
No, I think that okay. Well, I feel like both of them actually do like her. She was just in their way, right?
Yeah.
And I think Noelle's enough of a competitor out of like the bunch of them. She's not going to take it personally. James, obviously, we did see that he took it personally. He was a sore loser, right? Gabler doesn't look like a person that if he got, he'll looks like he'll be mad at the beginning because just he's such a alpha type of personality where he's like, I succeeded. Sam. Sam says Jesse's gonna win 100%. Sam. Who else could win? Everyone else.
Everyone else could win. Everyone else, I think, in this cast,
except Owen. Sorry, except Owen.
Even Owen, I think.
No.
Oh,
Owen can't
if
win.
you're gonna say Owen, you gotta. Okay, I think Owen has a better shot than Cassidy. I'm just saying.
Whoa, I don't think so. I
agree.
So.
Owen's at the bottom of who could win potential, but I don't think like he doesn't have a path to win or he can't make a case at the end or anything like that.
I think people generally don't like him.
I agree that he's probably not going to win the popularity contest too much.
He's not going to win the Sia money.
No, he's not getting that Sia money. No way. Not he read his story. He's like, my girlfriend thought I could win an immunity necklace, and I did. Great. And then we get all the letters here, including Jesse's, where he's crying. He's never gone a day without talking to his wife in his adult life, even when he was in juvie. This guy was not in a gang. Like, he's like the least tough guy. He is the least
gang.
He is the least tough guy I've ever seen. Like, I'm like, what a nerd this guy.
Are those gang tattoos? I can't tell.
I don't think so. They're like turtle doves or something, and roses. And
wow, you's a hater.
I'm a hater.
Yeah, he was in a gang.
I know he was in it, but then he went to juvie, and then he got out, and then he cleaned up his life.
That just tells you how young he was in the gang.
He was
groomed. He was being groomed, but he got out.
He got out.
He got caught, so then he got out.
He got.
He is tougher than me. No fucking way he is. No way.
Okay, you hear that first. Jesse,
Dave Mater.
If you ever hear this, you got to show up in Brantford.
The guy is like 5'6". I would knock him over in a second. Like,
wow.
Celebrity boxing match.
I would love it. I will take on Jesse.
Dave is flexing on the pod. I love it. You flex, dude, flex.
Whoa.
Jesse kicked Dave's ass. Yeah, right. Get bent, Sam. Whatever. All right. What else?
I love it. I don't care what anyone
says. This guy who I'm saying
so wait, Dave,
said go get that money, baby. Like, give me a break.
If you were gone for a while, you're telling me that you would not miss your wifey?
Sure, I would miss my wife.
Oh, but you wouldn't ugly cry.
No, I wouldn't ugly cry. No. Would you?
I'm a different cat, so.
Oh, what kind of cat am I? I'm a Jesse-like cat?
Definitely.
No. No, it went on forever. Oh God, it was so boring.
I love your reaction to this. It's great.
This is the worst. No, I'm not a Jesse fan.
Clearly. Tell us how you really feel, Dave.
I will.
You will.
On another podcast, a special night, Dave's feelings. So
that's every podcast. So then there was like back at the camp was kind of the other story. It's like Cassie, it's Gabler, it's Carla. They're talking about getting out Noelle. This is ultimately, I think, the conversation that ends up panning out in this episode is, and Noelle even says right before this, like, I bet the girls over there are putting my name down. So Noelle was on one, because they kept talking about like who's on what side, who's in the middle, and I was trying to follow what the sides were. Like, I could tell that like Carla and Cassidy seemingly were a side, and Noelle was a side, and I guess Owen was with her, right? And I guess Sammy also voted with them, so that was one side, and then the other side was everyone else who voted on Noelle. The only people who didn't vote on either Noelle or Carla, one vote cast against Sammy by Noelle. So she thought the vote was Sammy tonight.
Yeah, she was completely in the dark. Well, because she did the one for her, and then Owen went with her, didn't he? And same with
Owen and Sammy voted for Carla.
Oh yeah, Owen and Sammy. Yeah, so they were with Noelle.
So why did Noelle vote for Sammy?
Because she thought it was the 3-3 split or whatever she thought. It wasn't even close to that.
But if she had voted for Carla, it would have been, well, she still would have got voted out, but it would have been closer.
Well, there was.
Doesn't mean anything.
I think there was like one or two votes they didn't show, right? Like she didn't. It didn't go to the last vote for majority vote.
Yeah, it didn't. The vote didn't matter at that point.
Yeah, I don't know. I was curious though. Let's talk about the immunity challenge itself.
Ooh, I liked it.
Which
I
was like
liked it.
House of Cards with like these ceramic tiles. No, I'm not answering your question, Sam. You're not being very nice tonight. So
Is it about what what Jesse would do to you in a fight? I didn't read the question.
no, this is one of Sam's. Like, I have a question. I just ask it if you have a question. Don't set it up.
Sassy. I think Jesse got him all hot and bothered.
He doesn't want to just go to the punchline. He wants to build up the joke.
All right, the challenge.
So great.
I liked it. I liked it because it had two elements to it, right? Like you were balancing, but you were also trying to build the structure. Because I've seen this challenge done so many times where you just have to build the structure, right? Because but a lot higher than that, right? So for them to balance it with whatever, I think that was a good element. I felt like no one really struggled with it, right? Like it was just a matter of holding the position, which like it seemed like Cassidy, Sammy, and there was one or two others that had the good position, had it locked in, right?
Carla was pretty good, but she would have moments of wavering and she would lose it. Owen seemingly sucked at it, and it wasn't even that he sucked.
Oh man.
He just like would get so angry and whip a tile every single time it went down. And I'm like, you gotta pick up that tile anyways. Why are you doing that each time?
They were not showing us like them having to pick all the tiles up. They kept editing all that out. Like, I wonder how long this actually went on for.
Too long, probably, for a lot of them.
Yeah.
Because before like the second round was 28 minutes into it.
Yeah, and a few of them, like in particular, like Cassidy, who went on to win this, like she seemed like she was the best at it, throughout all of her attempts. Although Sammy was quite good, Owen was pretty good at it. Carla got close a few times too, but it was maybe Jesse a couple times. So I don't know, but then others like Gabler. I thought Gabler as the surgeon might be good at this. No, he was no better than anybody else.
He was Dr. Burke in season 3 of Grey's Anatomy. For you procedural watchers.
Yeah, he was just going along here, everything coming kind of crashing down. Ultimately the approach that Cassidy wins with is really interesting. I think just like how she got her structure up so high, and then she just created like this stack of flats right near the top, and then made a little tower.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah, and
that took longer, it seemed like, right? But obviously it worked, right? But it was just surprising that she was like, "This is where I'm stopping," and I'm just gonna. But she kind of was like, "I just need a couple," and then she needs more, and then she needs more, and then she finally got there. But
what did she learn? She must have learned in the earlier attempts that at a certain point, when it gets to like that height, there's a reason they picked this particular point, because it must be once it gets so tall on a traditional House of Cards structure, it just becomes very hard to balance. Beyond what you can maybe manage with one hand, I guess. Yeah. And so, this was really clever, I thought, on her part to try this, because you saw Carla was just trying to do it the normal way, and then all kind of crashing down right at the same time. Ultimately, it was interesting that the vote was maybe going to be on either one of them, and they were both fighting strong for immunity. So good on Cassidy for winning this. I think I agree that she's maybe below on the lower end of who has potential to win this game, but I think Cassidy has got a shot. I think Cassidy can maybe give a good speech in the in like a final juror, final tribal. Her confessionals are quite sassy, I would say. So she's been an interesting character this season. Maybe an overlooked one a little bit.
Like, let's all be honest with ourselves here. just because what we've seen points particular people in certain directions doesn't necessarily mean that they aren't doing more, right? We've seen too many times the last 2 seasons in this fast-paced survivor game where we don't get to see the gameplay that everyone plays, and then therefore we're like,
No.
how did that happen, or why did people have that opinion of them, right? It's just so I just want us to let's also not jump to conclusion.
Yeah, we see the final scramble here, and Jesse basically plays Noel here, his former, they both came from Bessie together.
And
Let's see if I can find the whole. You got to have a cover story.
and doing some cleanup, Jesse has not won an immunity idol. The only people who have won are Gabler, Owen, Carla, Cody, Cassidy. I missed someone? I think I missed one person. Oh no, yeah, I'm right. So Gabriel, Owen, Carla, Cody, and Cassidy.
Mm-hmm.
Which is hilarious that the only person who everyone who's won is still in the game. Gabriel, Owen, Carla, Cody, and Cassidy.
This is where the vote for Sammy comes from. What's the third? I'm trying to remember all of Jesse's little things here. What was number 3 in his little strategy? Number 1 was have a
Fall
cover
Guy.
story.
Fall Guy.
Number 2 was number 3 was backup plan. That's what it was.
Yes.
Number 2 was have a fall guy and throw him under the bus.
Yep.
Who was the fall guy? Sammy?
Sammy. So Sammy, because he's such a flipper, and people know. It's one thing to be a flipper.
But he didn't vote for Noel though, right? So that's gonna be I think the way that they set up Gabler talking about Jesse and Cody, they're getting ready for it, right? They're getting ready for that part of the Survivor part, right? Because this is the peak of him mentioning it at that time, that wasn't he unfortunately is basically yeah, we're gonna go with this idea for Noel, right? But I see you guys, right? And then you see the next episode, the next trailer, it's just it's Gabler being yeah, I got this, right? I'm in my own driver's seat, right?
Yeah. I thought that I was starting to have a real hope for Gabler in this episode, where he was he comes away from this conversation with Jesse, kind of telling Jesse everything he wants to hear, and then he kind of turns around to Carla. He's like, "We should maybe think about getting out Jesse, or Cody." And I was like, finally, somebody is willing to say it. But it obviously it doesn't work, or they can't get enough between Gabler and Carla. They're not able to rally anything, because who else would they have? They only need 4 votes, right? So they would have had to get out Jesse, for instance. You would have to have gotten Sammy and Noel.
Yeah.
And throw in Carla's vote too. Or no, sorry, Carla already voted on that side, right? Wait, Owen. Yeah. So if you can, would Owen have voted out Jesse? I guess is would that have happened?
Not now. Too soon.
Too
Yeah, I
soon?
could agree to that.
Carla's not going to do that now.
Especially after what happened with James.
Especially with this whole tribal was a big misdirect. They kept looking at Jesse over and over again. He kept he has the idol, maybe 1, maybe 2, I don't know, doesn't really matter, but he has an immunity idol and he can play it if he's feeling in danger. And so I was like, well, are they trying? maybe they're going to take the shot here at Jesse. Maybe this is going to be the tribal, and it just ends up being a boring. Oh, the thing we had set up earlier with Noel. That's what we're doing instead. And so I was kind of like let down by this, because I just like.
So Dave, I brought it up last week. I think I brought it up last week, and it comes up again. If you've never watched Survivor past these last couple of years, prior to these last couple of years, you'd be like, I don't know how an immunity idol works, because people don't use their immunity idols
Never.
at all. I'm like, why aren't they using it?
Everyone wants to save them for a rainy day or something. Like, you can
It's
only
so
play them
weird.
the final 5, right?
It's so weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess, everyone's like, no, I might need this because I want to make it to the because you only may be able to make it to the final 3. So there's only now after this vote, after they vote out Noel in this one, there's 7 left, right? So there's only 4 votes to go. And actually 3 really, because one of them is gonna be a fire making thing. Yeah. So there's only 3 votes left.
Wouldn't you use it next? I would use it next round. Because the reason why I would use it next round is because the one after is the conversation about fire making. Where they're like, well, it's like, look, you can try to get me out, but the problem is, who are you more worried about? Blah, 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 fire making or me? Because Gabler, could probably make a fire better than I can. Right? If you're Cassidy, I assume, I don't know for a fact if she could make a fire better than other people, but that's that's going to be her line. It's like, why are you keeping me when Cody and Gabler are better fire makers, right? You have at least a chance with me if I end up being in fire making with you, or you take me to the end. Why are you keeping both Gabler and Cody, who are stronger fire makers?
Right? Well, okay, was this the right move, I guess, to vote out Noel at this particular tribal council for the people who ultimately voted her out? For like you think for sure, right?
Yes, you cannot have her sniff the end at all.
But these other people got great stories too.
Does Gable have a great story?
Sure, is the oldest guy out here.
Have a great story? Like
Owen maybe not.
Like anyone could build up a good story from now to the end, right? But
wait until Sammy tells them he's only 19.
The build up is so it's intense right now, it's bubbling right now, because Sammy's making all these claims and supposed moves, and he's not really doing anything, but he's running around, he's having fun, and we'll get to him.
I think you can't let Jesse sniff the end.
But I feel like in terms of controlling a narrative, it is easier to control someone's narrative who is practically just starting now, as opposed to someone who's built up a level of respect like a Noel has.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas Jesse, people are just catching on to how much he's involved. So he's just starting. For some people, he's at the starting line. Right?
Yeah.
James was already well into the race from people's perception, right? So that's why it's easier sometimes to control and eliminate the people who already have established narratives, right? And then at least you kind of feel like, hey, I have enough time to write a story that's compelling enough, right? I can at least write my story, as opposed to someone's already 100 pages in and I'm like, call me Ishmael, right? It's very difficult. So I can understand that thought process as to why a Jesse and a Cody who's just a wild man, and Carla and a Gabler are a lot more appealing than having a James, a Noel, a Ryan hanging around, because Ryan's story was already set. Like, he already is like, I cook food, I capture the food. That's his story.
What condition does he have?
Cerebral palsy. Did he have
cerebral palsy? Yeah. So, adversity and things like that. But like, okay, I'm looking at these final 7. Like, I can't imagine that they're in a hurry to get out Cassidy now.
Why not? She's one of the couple of people that's won an immunity idol.
I
Yeah.
thought she was at the bottom of like during the episode, right? Like at the beginning, right? Like just the way that it was kind of playing out because, like she, was I don't know. I felt like she was the one that was going to go, and then it was like Carla, and then it was Sammy, and then it was Noelle, and then there was brief talks about Jesse and Cody, but obviously it was Noelle, right? But that's kind of like there was a lot going on. There was a lot of conversations, and the way that the show directed it, it was like there's all these options, but at the end of the day, like it feels like there's 3 groups. Okay, there's 3 groups. There's the group. There's the Carla, Cassidy, and I guess you can maybe put Gabler in that category. And then the other one
And
is
Sammy,
the other
Cody, and Jesse.
Owen, Sammy. No, not Cody and Jesse. Owen, Sammy, and was Noelle.
Yeah.
Right. And so those 2 are pitted against each other, and that in that sense, right? Like that was kind of the vote, right? Like so, Gabler was the swing vote in that sense, right? But Jesse and Cody, who once again once again were understanding that was the first time they've really been seriously brought up. And they've been now marked as well. Gabler's like recognized that he's as he's playing both sides in the middle. That okay, well these guys are kind of like now emerged to the top. Like same like Jaemeel said, like James is gone. So he's now Noelle's gone, right? So like who's the next target? Who's talking to people? And Jesse went to Gabler, and he was talking to him about taking out Noelle. And the first reaction that Gabler had was, okay, now you show up. That's good to know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Carla should have did that conversation and not Jesse. The fact that Jesse proposed it put too much of a target
onto Jesse. That was his mistake. It's not enough to get him voted out here, but it could have. It could have if he
not enough respect for Gabler. It seems like
why it seemed weird that Carla wasn't in charge of her own destiny, which is so weird from how she's kind of played this game before.
Yeah,
and it really shows that James was the connective tissue between the Jesse and Cody relationship with the other side.
Even Jesse and Carla, who I thought were tight, but I guess they aren't. So
because he is too close to Cody. If Jesse was basing more of his decisions making on Carla and was connecting with Carla more, I think Carla would have more trust, right? And he should have put more in Carla's hands. He was taking a lot of it in his own hands, which, part of the trust part is, having them do some of the work. So from Carla's perspective, she's seeing Jesse do all these maneuvers, and it's like, well, what am I doing? Where's my hand in this? This isn't my play. This is Jesse's saving me and getting out Noelle, as opposed to me saving myself and getting out Noelle.
Right. Did you guys? What did you think of the jury's reaction to the vote out here tonight? In some of their moments.
People are so petty.
Ryan's just happy to be there, first of all, right? Like, let's just get that straight. Yeah. But yeah, Janine's really petty, and James is just, he is very, he's looking at everyone being like,
James' favorite Super Nintendo game is Kyle Petty's No Fear Racing. So petty. He is so petty.
Yeah, James has not been my favorite character on the show this year, other than just him being a great villain type. But
it's good that he's gone, though.
Yes, it is. And then the vote happened, and and that was the end of Noelle, and not even one vote against Jesse.
Yeah, well, he's playing the part well.
Yeah, he is. There was a ton of close-ups on Gabler in this tribal. He was really featured heavily in this tribal. I felt like, they kept coming, like he was going to be this deciding vote, but ultimately, if Gabler voted the other way, it wouldn't have mattered.
No, it didn't. I don't think so, because there was still here's the thing that I don't understand. I don't understand why they're splitting the votes. Why don't you why do you think that you have a clear majority vote? Right? If I was Noelle, I would have been like, hey, she's like, I think I trust Sammy. I think I trust Owen, right? So if those three had gone for one person, right, and then if Carla kind of jumped on, because if they split the votes, it's easier to be like, oh well, that's an easier way to get. They wouldn't need as many votes to get out Noelle, right? So I don't know. They should have. I don't know why they split the vote, especially when there's so many idols in play. You can't predict who's you can't predict who's going to pull them out.
Shaun in the Dark too.
Hmm.
They're always worried about Shaun in the Dark. They're always worried about twists, because this is the part about Survivor that drives me a little bit crazy, is that I guess they have nothing to do but sit around and think about every way to gamify it, right, and try to make it as risk adverse as possible, I guess. And I'm like, the whole thing is a crapshoot, random risk thing, and it's just human nature that they're going to try to fight back against that. You see this in Survivor and Big Brother, I imagine in the challenge as well, where okay, the producers set up these rules, so how can I get around this, or what's my strategy for giving me the biggest advantage, or whatever. But sometimes I'm just like, sometimes I hate these twists, because these votes are so complicated and convoluted and sort of hard to follow, and there's just this big, and often the reveal is not even that exciting,
Juice ain't worth the squeeze.
Sometimes.
Once again, the reward was pizza. I don't
Brownies.
understand. I want
wine,
ribs. I want to see steak. I want to see
I want to see the grilled pineapple Rita.
There you go. That's what Dave wants.
Pineapple Rita.
Why can't Dave have that? That sounds fancy.
It is fancy. It was brand new at the time. Where it's never here when I need it on the pineapple Rita.
Do either of you think that, because they didn't say it, or Noelle didn't say it, but do you think that Noelle saw it coming? Do you think that was a true blindside?
Do I think this was a true blindside?
She did not know it was coming.
I think her vote on Sammy is an indicator she didn't have a clue what was going on here.
Fair.
There wasn't even a counter movement here, really.
Jesse, Sam's, Jesse, Carla, and Cody is the final three. I mean, in a perfect world, but
that's the thing, right?
Found it.
Wood Fire Grilled Outback Steak, plus the brand new Outback Steakhouse Margarita, the grilled pineapple Rita.
I could almost taste it.
Did you guys catch the next time on Survivor?
Yes, I did.
Yep.
Looks like
the boat thing. They were they got a runner. I'm assuming it's probably there's an advantage you got to go find right now. You got to go run and find it.
Yeah, it was kind of like a scramble. We see here Gabler says to Owen, I've got a plan to get to final three, you and me. It could be, wouldn't that be a final three? Gabler, Owen, and I don't know who throw into that group.
Carla, maybe? Sammy?
Yeah.
It's probably Sammy.
Sammy? Yeah. Who wins in that final three? Sammy?
No.
No.
Gabler?
Gabler wins.
And Owen comes third?
No, Owen comes second. Sammy comes third. I don't think anyone's taking Sammy seriously right now.
He's 19 years old.
No, but he told everyone he's 22.
Well, they're not playing it off that way. It seems. I thought at first he was doing well, but he's the way that he's talking and expressing himself, right, is just he's not contained, right? At least that's how they're showing it, right? They're showing his age.
How about this? Next episode, they look to blindside Cody, right? And then Cody gets wind of it. And Cody's like, all right, I'm going to play my idol. You know, they're going to try and get me, but don't worry, we're going to get Gabler. And then just before Sammy goes, I got my knowledge is power, gives it to Jeff and goes, Cody, do you have a music idol? And he's like, yep, has to give it to him. Because Jesse told Noel that he gave Cody back his immunity idol, and Noel probably told the other people in her tribe or in her group about the exact same thing, so Sammy might know already. So confirmed that Sammy has it. Now that would be amazing move in front of the jury. The better move on top of that is if all of a sudden Jesse plays his idol for Cody and saves Cody's life. That would be a big tribal.
That would be something. Yeah.
But most likely it's not going to happen because no one plays advantages.
Nobody saves anybody else, really. Hardly anybody ever saves like another contestant anymore.
No one plays idols.
Like you see it in Big Brother because of vetoes, but like in this, yeah.
But even then, people are worried about playing vetoes.
Yeah. And the only other thing we saw in the preview was that they're going to be underwater again, where they have to hold their breath and doing this. This is a cool challenge when they do this.
So like, this is a challenge that probably is better for Noel than it is for. There's probably someone who has a fear of water or has been waterboarded or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Right? People all have their strengths and weaknesses.
It'll also be an intense one to see how quickly people drop out. Because what's going to happen is they're just going to keep lowering the bar, right? Slowly but surely.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Owen or Cassidy wins next week.
In the preview, you see it's actually Cody who's struggling with it the most, it seems like, in this challenge. They feature him quite a few times in this.
Because he's a surfer and he's probably like had close calls. All you need is a close call and you have that fear.
That reflex.
You swallow in water, you're done. Like, or you could be done.
Yeah, you could be done.
So a little behind the curtains type of thing. When I was younger, I actually had a almost drowning incident in the community pool. And it took many years for me to be able to even, like, when I was taking a shower, like, water over my head was difficult. I would hyperventilate a lot of times. It took a long while for me to, like, get over that, right? That trauma.
Right. Yeah.
So I know for a fact, right, that something very small can really, like, progress for a period of time, right? So who knows what people are dealing with, you know?
Well, I hope this isn't like. I hope that the next episode is not the limit in terms of like. It looks like an intense challenge, and I like that, right? So I like to see that again. But I like to see it like on a different, you know. So we'll see if this is the most intense one they have, right? But it's going to be kind of like. I don't know what to say. Like it's going to be survival of the fittest in a sense, right? Like it's a very like, you know, you got to be really strong to do this one. It looks like. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, they've done this before. I think we saw it last season or the season before that, and it's an interesting one to see.
I thought it was like a couple seasons ago.
Yeah, it was. I feel like we've seen it recently, so I can't remember how recently, but it's cool.
I like it.
Yeah,
I
so
would
we're looking
suck
forward
at
to
it.
So final 7 next week. Let's just quickly update our draft as we see the final 7 here now. We're going to Amanda officially out of the draft as Team Amanda is now done with Dwight and Noel. Their torches extinguished.
Definitely made a mark on this season.
Jen still has Carla. Sean has Gabler. Daryl has Owen. Jane has Cody, hence her fan there, and Jeff has Sammy and Cassidy.
Yeah.
And you have Jesse, Jaemeel, as just Team Samil. So, yeah. So this is gonna be fun. I've been long out of this. I've been out of this since when? Day 9. So
Damn.
it's been weeks and weeks and weeks. All
But
right.
okay.
Well, that's
still a lot of gameplay. Still a lot of game to play.
a lot of gameplay. Who are I guess the front runners are Jesse, Cody, and Carla, and maybe Gabler. I guess so these are the front runners, right? So we'll see how it plays out. We'll be back next week to talk about episode 11, which sorry, I don't know if we have the name of that. This episode was called "Get That Money, Baby."
Hiding in plain sight.
Oh yeah, because I think isn't that what Gabler says in the preview? I'm going to hide in plain sight and get to the final 3. I think he's the one who's going to say that. So I'm very sure that's where it's leading. I think a lot of Gabler in the next episode is what I predict. Maybe he gets voted out. We'll see how this all goes. And happy Thanksgiving if you're watching from the United States.
Yes, the second Thanksgiving, the not real Thanksgiving, but
The one that has the Black Friday.
yeah,
Yes,
the real Thanksgiving's in October.
right. But for neither country, or at least we didn't get to pick what our Thanksgiving was on either side in our lifetime. So it is what it is. But
Dave the diplomat.
Yes, except when I want to fight Jesse in the street. Let's happy Thanksgiving to all of the United States. Enjoy your day and of course the long weekend if you have Black Friday as well.
Yep.
And what
Please be nice if you're going shopping. Please be nice to retail workers and people who work in the service industry. It's a rough time, right? Whether you're taking a flight to your end destination to see your family, or you are going something to eat, be mindful. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of stress. People are just getting over, the pandemic, and they might not be staffed 100%. So keep that in mind. Be nice. Be kind.
Be kind. Also, this Black Friday we got where the podcasters are going curling. As I will be curling with Kevin Millard, Jody Simpson, and Adam Woodward in a bonspiel starting Friday night.
Yeah. I will be working because I work in a logistical warehouse company, retail company, a major one. So.
That's how it goes. That's 'tis the season. Make sure to check out our other great podcasts here on Super Mario Brothers Podcast, including our Big Brother coverage. We used to talk about Westworld before they canceled that, and some other things.
You're not
like
going to
Marvel,
finish up
the Beatles.
Westworld? You're just so close. You only have one season to worry about.
I know. I got through 2 episodes and I was like, I don't know if I care about the show. And
So
then
just
apparently
do
no
one
one else did.
episode to wrap it up. So there's a series. There's a finality to it.
Maybe, yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
Yes.
Check out all the great podcasts here on the United Federation of Podcasts. Most notably, this Sunday night, we have our next edition of Trivial Debates coming up over on that channel. Davan Skelhorn hosting a music-themed episode with Chris Seymour, Jaemeel Robinson, and Rylan Forsyth competing. It's going to be great.
I'm going to murder these people. They're going to put me in juvie. I'm going to have them crying like Jesse at the end of this episode.
Yeah. Oh, I miss my wife. And then what else? We got the Graphic History Podcast, Andre Mayette. Check that one out. The Hold Up Podcast with Alex. That's with Chris Murphy
The
and Davan
World
Skelhorn.
Mind.
The World Mind. We got X-Rated, an X-Men the Animated Review Show with Andre and Davan on Tuesdays.
Yeah, they were doing Kozar today. I think it was today that they I was wrong yesterday. I mentioned it was actually tonight.
Oh, they're doing it tonight. Okay. As well, Live Long and Podcast is our Star Trek themed channel where we're doing all kinds of Star Trek themed events and podcasts all the time. Most notably, the Locutors of Trek, which also fall in that. They're doing debate shows. We're doing, we got our Mondays. We talk about Star Trek Enterprise. On Tuesday, Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about Star Trek Prodigy. They got their newest episode. It's called Masquerade. We'll be reviewing that episode with Davan, Skelhorn, and Jessica Chan, and of course we have Star Trek Radio Theater, which is where we do our script reads of Star Trek. We got this one coming up on December 17th. We're doing Star Trek V: The Final Frontier, a movie from 1989, and we got the whole crew playing different parts. No, we got Jodie Simpson as God. Can you believe it, Josh?
Why does God need a starship?
Perfect role for him.
We got Davan playing Cybok, and Kevin Millard playing a Klingon, and Jaemeel's playing Scotty, and I'm playing McCoy, and Jane's playing who's Jane? She's the Romulan ambassador. So we got some. So this be.
Wait, do you hear that Morse code in the background?
Oh yeah,
Stand back.
Stand back. Boom! Have you never seen a jailbreak before?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you
I
get
know
that
this
line.
ship like the back of my hand. I haven't worked out the voice yet, but don't worry, I am thinking about it.
You got some great comedic moments coming up for this one. Yes. So that's all the great stuff. Oh, and as well, the Hellbound podcast, Michael Chant, Alex Blackbird, a horror-themed audio podcast as well within the network. So I think that's it, right? Let's talk about fighting games, Sam Jerka.
Paranoia.
And Paranoia, Super Smash Bros. Seth.
Yes.
Check it out. All right. Well, thanks for everybody on tonight. Thanks to Josh, Jaemeel. Regrets from Jeff Mader. Hopefully he's well next week. And we will see you next time here on Super Mader Brothers Podcasting. I'll play you out on a clip. Let's see. I got the perfect one. How about this?
Noel in one of the biggest comebacks in the history
Noel.
of Survivor has just won the biggest reward of the season. That is what this game is about right there.
You
never, ever stop on Survivor. 11th person voted out, 4th member of our jury. Noel, that's 4. That's enough. You need to bring me a torch.
Same episode.
Circular.
It's very circular. All right. See you next time, everybody. Good night.